Yo, what's going on, guys, and welcome back. Today we're actually going to do a video that's everyone's been requesting, and it is creating your own VPN. Now, I want to have a disclaimer on this because I've done some research. I don't use it this way. This is not how I do it, but I pay to have my VPN, okay? And what I mean by that is I have my own VPN, but I pay to host it, okay? The disclaimer is Network Chuck did this video already. Okay, I'm not stealing his idea. This is not a genius idea. AWS literally puts it in their format because it's so popular. So just know, if you watch both of our channels, this is basically the same thing he did, but this is an updated version. The reason I'm doing it the same way, I have to admit, he did it the best in the way that he did it for free. Okay, I want to make sure that all of you have the option to do it for free. This is the easiest and best way I've found to do it for free, and that's why he did it this way. So if you've watched his video, this is an updated version because his video is a little outdated. The steps don't follow perfectly, so this is updated. But just keep in mind, I'm not taking his video. I try really hard to differentiate my content, so I want to make sure you guys understand that this is the same video, just with an update. Okay, so first things first, let's talk about AWS for a second. If you don't know, or if you already know about AWS, skip ahead. But AWS is Amazon Web Service, right? This is basically where you're going to log in, you're going to have to create an account in AWS. And what you're going to do is you're going to go up to here to services. Your screen when you log in will look different than this. It'll look more like this, okay? And you can see, here's your cost and usage. If this starts skyrocketing at any point, shut off everything, okay? Because it will get very high very quickly. But this does not cost, okay? So you can see here, you're going to go up to search or services and go to EC2, okay? So when you go to EC2, after you've created your account, you go to EC2. EC2 is where you're going to launch virtual machines, okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to actually launch an instance. Now, if you don't understand what's happening, AWS is simply a cloud service that has hundreds of things you can do in it, but EC2 is where you host virtual servers. So what that means to us is that we can give them, or we can use their hardware to host our VPN. Now, why is that important to us? Well, look, we can have all these different regions, right? So we can put our VPN wherever we want, and that is now our VPN, and we can connect to it. And now we don't have to worry about people monitoring our VPN, our logs, all that stuff being sent out. We have our own VPN that we can do whatever we want with, right? So what you're going to do once you get in here, I won't cover AWS too in depth here because that's outside the scope of the VPN. This is just a free VPN that I want you guys to be able to set up. And I know I talk more than Network Chuck did or other people do because you guys just want step and be done. But I want to explain what's going on. I do not want you just standing something up and having no idea what's happening, okay? So keep in mind, there are other ways to do this. AWS is just the easiest free way to do it, okay? So we go ahead and launch an instance. We're going to launch a new instance. So this is us standing up a new server. That's what's happening. So we'll name it Stuffy's VPN, okay? Now, here's where the steps get a little different on Network Chuck's. So you can see here, his screen didn't look like this, okay? Ours will. Now, what you want to do is you want to say search for full catalog. And these are AMI images. There they are. Okay. So these are all of their AMI images. These are the ones that they already have. So we'll go to browse more AMIs, and you want to go to the marketplace. Okay. The marketplace is where you can buy them if you wanted to. Okay. So we go to marketplace, and we're going to say open VPN. We're just going to search for it. And you can see access server right here. Now, here's the thing. Yes, you are in. We'll select it real quick. Okay, and we'll say, now you can see here, bring your own license, free tier. It's important that you see that because in Network Chuck's video, that wasn't there. And the reason the bring your own license was, but the free tier wasn't. And the reason is they've updated it. They probably saw that, hey, people aren't understanding that this is free, even though it says it costs. And I'll show you what I mean by that. So this one actually doesn't have it. But anyway, when you're in here, you can look at the cost for OpenVPN, and there's different price structures, right? But they didn't list a free one. It just says it's going to cost this much for each one. with the bring your own license, the one that you saw me click on, the bring your own license, that one specifically allows 2 connections at the same time, okay? So if you're going past that, you're going to need a license, but 2 connections are free. So if you have 50 people you want joining this is not the one for you. But if it's just you, that's fine. This is perfect, okay? Now, here's where you want to be careful because, again, you need to make sure you're staying in the free tier. You can see here, free tier eligible. The default is not the free tier eligible. So you go to the micro, that's free tier eligible. Okay, boom. Now, you want to create a new key pair. This is important, okay? And you can see, we actually have one. I think I deleted it actually, but we'll just do this one. And let me make sure I have it. Actually, we'll just create a new one. Just so that way. So the key pair is just a way to connect, right? It's going to create a key that lets you connect. So we're going to do stuffy VPN, okay, rsa.pem file, cool, and it's going to download it for us. That's perfect. You need that to connect to it. That's what you need it for, okay? So make sure you keep that that file. All right, so we've got the key pair, we've got everything. We don't have to worry about anything else. Free tier eligible, perfect. And number of instances, 1, we're good. Okay, in your first year includes 750 hours, So we're still in the free tier. Let's go ahead and hit launch instance. And you're gonna notice it's gonna take a little bit. It's gonna set it all up. But when it does, the nice thing with AWS is you don't have to, you can SSH into it and those things, but you don't have to. You can connect right to it. You can see here's the actual instance, and you can see the username is root. It's already going to log us into that. We hit connect, and here's the nice thing. Look at that. Okay, it's not a valid state, meaning it's probably not on. So we'll click on it here. Instant state. Okay, so it is on. It's probably starting up. That's why, yeah, it's pending. So what that means is the state is like, is it turned on? Is it turned off? Is it booted? Is it in sleep mode? What state is it? And you can see here, start it, reboot it, hibernate it, etc. Now, when you refresh this, we'll wait. Okay, so now it's running. So when it's running, we can actually go back in here and connect. And you can see, you can actually, I'll just go do it this way so you guys can see from your screen exactly how you're going to do it. So you can see here, we're in our instance. This is where we're at. And if you ever get lost, if you ever get confused, just go back to EC2, search EC2, then go to instances, and there will be your instance, your VPN, right? We go to connect, and now that it's in a running state, not a pending state, you can see here we are. Now, it's going to walk us right through the setup. So it's asking us, please, yes, to indicate your agreement. This is our agreement with OpenVPN. Okay, so will this be your primary access server node? So it's going to ask you a bunch of questions, okay? Press enter for default. Just press enter, okay? And there's one that you're going to need. Now, you can change this if you want. These are the settings for the encryption keys, all that stuff. You can change that if you want, but I'm just going to use the default. And you can see 943 is the web UI default port, which you're going to need. Okay. There's one that I'm going to need to stop and talk to you a minute about. So, okay. So do you wish to log in to the admin UI as OpenVPN? That's the name of the account you're going to use. Okay. Yes. Type a password. Okay. Here's the important thing. When you type this password in right now, okay, make sure when you type it in, you are not using any special characters on this initial login, okay? I'm just going to make mine capital PASSWORD 123, okay? And apparently that was that had symbols in it too, okay? Not sure how password 123 had symbols, but all right, we'll try it again. So password. We'll just do password. Let's just see if password takes. Okay, so it does have to contain a symbol. Okay, we'll try that. Now, the reason I say this is I did this before, and I put certain symbols, it was breaking it. Okay, so I just did password 123, perfect, with the exclamation point. Now, the reason I'm telling you this just for the initial setup is the initial setup, you can change the password, okay? That's fine. And then you hit enter and you're good. You can change the password later. That's fine. We'll change it. Don't worry. But the problem was when I did it, the password I used must have confused the box and made it think that I was running a command on it. And when I did that, the problem with that was it actually locked the account out, and I had to go through and manually unlock it and do all kinds of stuff. Okay, so now you can see here the admin client right here is right here. So we can just go, or the admin page. So we can go here and go to paste. Now, obviously, it doesn't have a certificate authority. So here we go. Okay, so now if you remember, the OpenVPN is the account we're going to use to log in now. And then we're going to say password 123 exclamation point, hit enter, and it's going to ask us to agree. And look at that. We're in. And you can see 2 VPN connections allowed. So that's perfect. That's really nice. This is where we can actually control a lot of this, right? So the activation key would be if you go and buy a license, then you can change it. So user management. This is where we can go ahead and change, if we wanted to, change this username, password, all that stuff. You can change all that later. You can add users if you wanted. You don't have to. You can keep using the OpenVPN if you want. And then you can see that you can change pretty much everything about it, which is really nice. So we'll go ahead and configuration. There's our activation. Perfect. So we know that we got 2 that can do it. Now, if we get an activation key, that's going to make you purchase it, right? So keep that in mind. And then you have log reports, all that stuff. So this is a very simple, very nice VPN monitoring for you, okay? Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and make sure that everything's set up correctly. Okay, everything looks good. Everything looks perfect. All right. So now let's cut over and let's go ahead and get on our other box and connect to it. All right, welcome back, guys. So one thing I forgot to show you is one of the settings. Basically, it's this one here, the routing. And the reason I forgot to show it to you is because it actually asks you this when you set it up, and you can say yes. And we selected no because I just did defaults. I was just hitting enter. You could select yes, but you need the internet traffic to be routed through the VPN. You need this to be yes. If you don't, it won't work, right? I mean, that makes sense. If you aren't routing the traffic, it doesn't do anything. So we hit save settings. It's going to ask if you want to update it. You can update it. That's just going to actually update the server itself. And then all you got to do, now we want a VPN, right? All we got to do is take this, and we'll keep this page open so we have access. So now we're here. And again, we're going to use OpenVPN. And we're just going to say OpenVPN and our password, which is password 123 again. And we sign in. It's going to ask, okay, OpenVPN Connect recommended for your device. Okay, perfect. So we're going to say we're just going to use Windows, obviously. This is a Windows machine. And you wait for this to open. We'll say open when done. And I know you can do the OpenVPN Connect for all platforms. You can do whatever. Keep in mind, you can change your password right there. That's the big one. Okay, not the big one, but that's the one that a user could use. So if you created a user, let's say your brother needs to use it or whatever, you can create a user. They can actually change their password. They have a self-service option. Okay, and this is all hosted in AWS. Now it says opening when complete, but it's not actually opening. So maybe it's not complete yet. We'll find out. But anyway, so then you can see if we go to here, all this is happening. Okay, so I'd have to actually go run this. Running this app could put your PC at risk. That's fine. The reason it's doing that is because it's not assigned. It's not actually signed. I'll still go ahead and run it. And you guys aren't seeing it, but I'm running it on the side. There we go. So there you go. There's the OpenVPN settings. I accept. Install. And it's going to go ahead and install this. We're going to go ahead and talk about the server itself while it's installing. Now, you can see this is all running on this server, right? So, like I said, if you're in the free tier, make sure you stay in the free tier. And what I mean by that is I see a lot of people that don't understand AWS fully, and they start doing it, messing around with AWS, and they don't know what they're doing. And next thing you know, they're like, hey, I have a $1,000 bill, right? In AWS, it shows you the running costs. I want to show you guys something that you need to stand up, okay? So where is it? Right here. Billing and free tier usage alerts. You need to, and where is that? That's just in under instances. It'll show you next steps. You can also search for it. You can go in your settings. Make sure you are setting up free tier alerts, meaning if you get out of that free tier, it's going to email you. You need to set this up. And again, it's not that that AWS is shysty. It's nothing like that. It's some people don't fully understand their billing structure and understand how it's working. And next thing you know, you're in trouble, right? So, and when I say you're in trouble, you just have a big bill. All right, so now we've got the OpenVPN Connect. We'll go ahead and change the password because I do want to get that password off of password123. And I'm not going to tell you guys the new password. And most likely, if this was going to be my everyday driver, I would change the account too. I wouldn't keep it OpenVPN because everyone knows that's a default OpenVPN account. So here we go, URL. So now all we got to do is take this, because this is our URL, and then we need to open it. Say, hey. And you can see here, drag and drop to upload the OVPN profile. You can import one profile at a time. So there's different ways you can do it. Let's get started. I agree. Okay. So you can see it's already there. We hit boom, and it's going to ask us for the password. And you see it's OpenVPN is the profile already, right? Now you want, one thing I'll say is you want to verify that this matches your server, which mine does, right? We hit enter. It's going to log us in, and look at that. We are actually logged in, and the reason I changed it is because it does give your IP address, which is fine. It's just a private one actually. But anyway, you can see that I'm actually logged in and I am working right now. Now you see this 44 whatever. So now if I say, and I want, the only reason I'm taking this off is if it doesn't work, you're going to see my public IP, which isn't a big deal because whatever. But I want to show you. Look at this. Look at what my public IP is. What is my IP? I hit refresh. Look at that. It's 44.211.67.46. So I am connected to the VPN, and now my IP address is whatever my server is, okay? So look at that. That's really nice. Now, here's where it's really nice too, is my IP location, Ashburn, Virginia. Well, let's take a look. What's that say? North Virginia. That's where we set up the VPN, right? So of course we're in Virginia. That's really nice. So then we have my ISP, my internet service provider. It's Amazon Data Services. Cool. So we know we're in Amazon. So all of this, the reason this is really nice is guess what? When I go to a website, when I go to whatever, this is what they're seeing. They're not going to get my personal information. They're not going to get that. Now, one thing, there's a couple of caveats I want you guys to know about. One thing I will tell you is I've heard of this. I've never had this happen to me. But some ISPs, meaning internet service providers, you may get a letter from them saying, hey, you need to get rid of this. You need to take this VPN off. The reason for that is because they can no longer see what you're doing. And some ISPs don't like that. Now, if you do get this letter, don't worry. It's not a big deal. It's not illegal. Call them, talk to them, just explain you have VPN running. The reason they do it is because some ISPs will say this: A, want your data, okay? B, they also have a little bit of a responsibility to ensure that their users are doing proper things. For instance, if you are on the dark web all the time, And now the dark web uses Tor, so it's a little different. But if you were on sites like that and you didn't have Tor, your internet service provider has a responsibility to, hey, we need to talk to you. We need to report this. We need to do things like that. So keep that in mind that that's all they're doing. They're doing their spot checks. They're doing what they need to do. But make sure you guys get this VPN. It's super simple, super easy. And now I have a simple VPN that anytime I want, I need to just go in here and I can restart the VPN if it's not working right, if it's messed up. I can just restart it, hop in, and I've got it. And this is 100% free, okay? That's why I say when you go back to your AWS, you'll see cost and usage. Nothing. I've got nothing in there, okay? If that starts to go up, check if you change settings, if you got out of the free tier, if your year's up, whatever the case is, make sure you check those. So hopefully you guys like this. I know it's longer than most. I could have done this in 5 seconds to just show you just boom, 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 boom. There's the steps, but I want it to be done correctly and I want you to see it correctly, okay? So thanks, guys. Hope you guys have a great day, and let me know what you guys think in the comments below.